We're here in South Africa at the Blockchain Africa Conference with Nerushka Bowan, a thought leader in the Regtech and Lawtech community here in Africa. Nerushka, can you give us an overview of what's happening in the Lawtech and Regtech ecosystem right now across the continent?
Sure. I mean, right now it's actually an exciting space to be in. It's very new, very fresh. A lot of development, especially over the last 6 to 8 months, I would say. Before that, we didn't even really have much of an ecosystem on the continent, but now we're seeing startups pop up all over the space, as well as investment into the space. So I think it's quite important. We're seeing organizations such as the Hill in The Hague making direct investments into startups in Southern Africa, trying to promote kind of from a grassroots level all the way up. And even from our big law firms, our traditional big law firms, we're now starting to see some movement in their spaces. Nothing obviously dramatic or game-changing yet, but people are kind of saying we need to be doing something differently and are starting to kind of pursue and explore what that means for them. And
that's super exciting. And actually, there's one of the big problems here in Africa is access to justice. Yes. Can you give us an example of how we're trying to use Lawtech or Regtech to address this problem in the continent?
No, of course. I mean, definitely, I think, as with many other parts of the world, it's definitely a problem also in Africa. And I mean, unless you kind of this listed company with a big legal budget that can access, lawyers and pay their fees, you're kind of okay. Yeah. On the other end of the scale, if poor enough to actually warrant pro bono advice, then maybe again you can get access to that justice. But there's this big middle piece that only actually go to lawyers when they're desperate. Maybe they getting divorced or they're about to be sued and they kind of have to get that legal advice, but there's this big range of services that they kind of just think, okay, it's not so urgent now, I'll just kind of make do in the interim. And I think what is happening, especially with this advent of law tech in the continent, is trying to close that gap. So in the startup space, for example, we're seeing these companies start and saying, here, you can draft your own documents as a startup. We'll give you this package. You don't have to go to a lawyer, pay hours and hours of fees. We'll give you a very low-cost package, and you can draft your own suite of documents, which they may have not done without this access.
Excellent stuff. That's a lot of exciting stuff going on. Nerushka, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your time here at the conference.
Thanks very much.